if it's geometric, that means, and this number's 12, okay, this number's 3072. So that means we're definitely multiplying by something, right? We're multiplying every time. So if we want to go like go backwards to figure out what we're multiplying by, what's the opposite of multiplying? Dividing. Yeah, the opposite of multiplying is dividing. Okay, so that's why we start by dividing instead of subtracting. Okay, last time it was adding every time. The opposite of adding is subtracting. That's why we subtract for arithmetic. But the opposite of multiplying is dividing. Okay, so we start by dividing here. So it's still the last and the first, but instead of subtract, it's divide. Okay, now this is the weird part, okay? Don't freak out, because I'm going to show you how to do this. All right, then what you do is you take the root. Okay, so like a square root of the gaps plus 1. Okay, so make sure that you write this down. Okay, this is our formula, okay, for geometric. This is how you find the missing numbers in a geometric sequence. Okay, and we're going to try it with these numbers here, but it's last divided by first, and then whatever you get from that. Okay, think about this last and first, like this is in parentheses if it's underneath a square root. So we have to do what's inside those parentheses first. PEMDAS. All right, so last divided by first, and then whatever you get, you take the root of the gaps plus 1. Divide 3072 by the first number, which is 12. Obviously, calculator. I'll do it with you. 3072 divided by 12. 256. Good. Okay? So that is equal to 256. All right, so now when I do my little square root sign thing, okay, we'll talk about what they're called when we get closer to it, okay? But what is the gaps plus 1? What does that come out to? Gap, gap, gap. Gaps plus 1 is 4. Okay, so that means what we want to do now is we want to take the fourth root of 256. All right, if there's a 4 right here, all that means is what number times itself 4 times is going to give me the number underneath. So like what times itself times itself times itself is going to give me 256. Okay, so does that make sense what we're about to do? Okay. So again, we do last divided by first. Okay, and remember now, all right, so if we start with 12, okay, if we start here with 12, and then whatever we multiply by, we have to do it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So isn't that really the same thing as like 12 times x times x times x times x? Right? Like 4 times. And so when we do that, x times x times x times x 4 times, that gives us x to the 4th. Okay, and that's kind of what we're trying to figure out. Like 12 times what 4 times is going to get us to 372. Or 3072, sorry. So basically what we're asking, the question we're kind of looking for is what to the 4th power is going to get us 3072. About 4 for this, then that's what we have to multiply every time to get the next number. Okay, so 12 times 4 would be 48. 48 times 4 would be 192. And then 192 times 4 would be 768. And then if I do that times 4, hopefully I get 372.